So again, family, this is very important to our discussion because we are going to um, focus in on some very profound topics, and we have been, but we want to look at the science behind this and try to imagine uh, where it is that we're going. So we want to take a look at these a two-dimensional representation of these self-producing, self-created, uh, non-linear cellular systems, because this has to do with who and what we actually are. And I want us to take a look at this, and we'll look at another one very quickly. This is a Raleigh-Bernard convection cell. So you see the two colors, family, polarity. And we're going to see how it operates and how, now see, it keeps reproducing itself. As these things move, concentrate, if you will, on the bottom right where the oranges or rust colored liquid is coming from, and the top left where the blue liquid is coming from. You see they're merging.
Yeah.
But it's going to maintain a separation. As they mix in the center, they cool, they return back to the source. The rust you'll see coming from the right, the blue basically coming from the upper left or thereabouts, returning to their source and returning into this dynamic, turbulent interaction. Do you all see it? You see the blue up here that is massing and sending things to the center. And basically down here, the rust color or the orangish color. And they're creating these cells with nucleuses. Can we see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's perpetual. It's never ending. As long as there is a heat source, this dynamic, turbulent interaction of apparent opposites, polarities, will be self-fueling, self-creating. And it would appear or seem like that there's an infinite supply of both the rust color and the blue. But it is just recycling, cooling, heating up, coming to the surface, cooling, going back down, returning to the source, getting heated up. Are you all with me?
Yep. Everything.
So we'll take a look at this one as well because this shows it from the top view.
We have here some silicone oil, some powdered mica, and a hot plate in order to demonstrate Rayleigh-Bernard convection cells. The mica powder has nothing to do with the convection cells, but it turns the silicone oil into a rheoscopic fluid. This means literally current showing fluid. This will allow us to see the movement of the oil through its entire depth. As the oil heats, we can see a pattern forming in the mica
So
powder.
Eitai,
These
this is a confirmation
cells cause
that hot needs.
Say again, brother.
Okay.
This is confirmation that hot needs cold and cold needs hot as they work as one.
Yes. I don't know if you're losing it.
Can you hear me?
I don't think he can hear you.
Yes, it's a confirmation. Life needs death. Death needs life. Light and darkness need each other to exist.
Yes.
Within what? Within the simulated reality.
Yes.
So this dynamic interplay, family, is going to go on indefinitely. It will continue to self-refuel. But there is no escape outside of what? Outside of the system.
Okay.
Anytime you say there's no escape outside of that system,
That's correct.
you mean is right? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely correct.
Or
Now,
you're saying that period once you okay, all right, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
if you remain inside that system,
Right.
Okay.
there's going to be no escape from it. But
Right.
I'm going to show us something else, and then we're going to pick up where we left off.
Okay.
So you see that there's an energy source, right? The hot plate that is just going to keep heating things up. They're going to cool down. And as long as they are reliant upon this energy source, the interaction is going to be indefinite.
Rayleigh-Benard
That's
convection. As
all for that.
the bottom of the dish begins to warm, it becomes less dense and thus more buoyant. It begins to flow at the surface.
Okay.
Once it reaches the surface, it begins to spread out because the surface tension of a warm oil is less than that of a cool oil. The cool oil begins to pull together at the
Doesn't that look like cell mitosis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bernard cells, pulling the warm oil away from the center. Once the oil has reached the edge, it begins to cool and sink down to the bottom of the dish where it can be reheated, forming a feedback loop. Once the cells form, they are very stable provided the temperature doesn't drastically change.
Forming a feedback loop. Just an endless loop, Nasi, of the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
Taking a look with the infrared camera, we can see this temperature gradient across the Bernard cells. At the center of each cell, it is much warmer than at the edges, forming this dark grid across the surface of the oil. Whether or not the Bernard cells form is determined by a non-dimensional parameter called the Rayleigh number.
It's determined by a non-dimensional element. Non-dimensional.
The Rayleigh number is the acceleration due to gravity times the thermal expansion coefficient of the oil divided by the viscosity of the oil times the thermal conductivity of the oil. All of this is multiplied by the temperature difference from the bottom of the container to the top, multiplied by the cube of the height of the liquid column. When the Rayleigh number for the system reaches 1708, it becomes unstable, and Bernard cells can form. I hope you found this video interesting, and if you'd like to see more like this, check out my channel. Thanks for watching.
Okay, now we're gonna fast forward and show another system of an energy source that is self-refueling based on this same principle. You eaters are the fish. You're the puffer fish. Want us
Look
to
like
look
some kill bone with legs.
at I want us to look at this. This Nasik is the reality of the actual nature of the simulated reality.
Yeah.
This is what we do. It don't matter. Don't matter what they throw in there.
Right, 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 right.
That's so true.
Man.
Self-refueling. Don't matter. Scorpion.
We just,
Or not a scorpion, but a shrimp. I think
Yeah.
they do throw a scorpion in there, though. And he don't matter. A snake.
snake. I knew it was coming next.
Scorpion. No, it's a crab. Crab trying to defend itself. Are y'all with me?
Dang.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is the vanity family illustrated in real time. The vanity
Mm-hmm.
that our higher selves in the narrative of the scriptures, our ancestors were trying to get us to see.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is not about no diet. It's not about a day. We have to move from viewing things from the perception, the perspective and vantage point of human servants, and move to the perception of the divine.
Dang.
This
Mm-hmm.
was the perspective of what our ancestors left us. This view. We looked at this paradox yesterday. And like we saw, Malkiel, you must look at both sides,
Mm-hmm.
both polarities, without what? Omitting one.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we saw this paradox in looking at Genesis 1:29, where we were given a vegan diet.
Right.
Then 8 chapters later, we were told to do like the puffer fish. And everything that liveth shall be meat for us. Am I mistranslating it or misreading it?
No.
even as the green herb have I given you all things. We got to look at this. Psalms 107, 17 through 20 says, half-wise fools, because of their transgression. What is the transgression? Omitting the other side. And because of their iniquities are afflicted. Their soul abhorreth all manner of meat. And yet and still they draw near unto the gates of death. That's a paradox, family.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one that we are living out in real time. We cannot explain this thing away intellectually. We cannot reason it away. We cannot rationalize it. We must synthesize it. We must solve the paradox, but we will not do that intellectually. We must do it intuitively. We must make that transition. Then they cried out unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saveth them out of their distresses. He sent his word and healed them. It would have to be a new word.
Mm-hmm.
It could not be based on the knowledge that what? Presented us with this paradox in the first place. It by necessity must be a new thought.
New thought.
And this is what
New unknown.
I'm hoping that I can aid you to transition to, because it is necessary. It is imperative that we hear this new word and allow it to cause us to transform and transition. He sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destructions. So again, we see the paradox even early on in Genesis 4, where Abel was the keeper of the sheep, Cain was the tiller of the ground. So we have what? A carnivore and a vegan, or at least an herbivore. And in the process of time, Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel brought the meat and the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offering. Is that a paradox?
Eitai.
Uh-huh.
That's an excellent paradox. And, you know, just to add a little bit more onto that, when you go back and read those scriptures, and you will see that exactly what Eitai was saying is that a new situation was occurring. That's what the flood was about.
That's correct.
And the flood, it was moving out of one, you understand, consciousness, which was, this was okay. But in another realm of consciousness, something else would be necessary.
That's right. And this is why Noah is central, meaning rest. We got to pause. We got to press pause.
Right.
We got to press pause.
Yep.
It's telling us to stop, consider. But under the mind, Nasik, and under the intellect, we didn't stop. We rationalized. We reasoned. We explained away. And many of us didn't even recognize that there was a conflict or a contradiction or a paradox. That was
never.
Because your mind will show you only what is in there. Only It won't play another program. Now, see, it will show you only
Won't
what's
play,
contained within that program.
and there's no way to stop on its own. Once it's the button is, if you don't push the button again, it will never stop.
It'll be self-refueling like we saw.
Right.
And
That's it.
our work and interaction will what? Guarantee, well, within that simulated reality will guarantee that it never stops.
Yeah.
So we said that this fat was related to the richest and the choicest or the best part. And why? Because fat stores energy. That is the best part
Right.
in humans, in beasts, and it refers to the choicest part of plants as well. So all of those things are in the same bucket. Will a beast eat a human? I'm asking. Will
Absolutely.
Yes.
a beast eat a human? Yeah, for the same reasons, family,
Mm-hmm.
a human will eat a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To what?
That's right.
Get energy, get fuel to keep this thing going. And it's referred to as what? The circle of life. It is actually the struggle of life, the cycle of life, self regenerating, self refueling, self perpetuating. And now,
Now, Eitai,
yes,
I want you to go back. You and Markel, you particularly, I know I sent them to you all. I want you to go back and read the intermittent fasting again, where we talk about the fat burning, the glucose, and the protein. I mean, the ketone. And we're
absolutely.
going to see,
Okay.
the significance of that. Most people want to burn fat, but they never get a chance to burn fat because they keep dumping food in
That's right.
and it keep turning to sugar.
Yeah.
So you never
Mm-hmm.
burn the fat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So now, see, that has provided us with an excellent transitional point
Absolutely, yeah.
because what you're emphasizing is less eating, which what? Removes us to a certain degree, what? Out of this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Absolute.
Mm-hmm.
Out of this vicious cycle. So this is an excellent transitional point.
Yeah.
We've been but we've been on this pattern of transitioning because now see, what wasn't there? Isn't there a transitional diet even for vegans?
I didn't say that again. I didn't hear it.
Uh, isn't it? I mean, didn't we create a transitional diet from meat to veganism?
And guess what? But guess what?
Okay.
Uh huh.
It's still in the transition. Don't nobody want to move.
That's
Right.
correct.
Right.
So,
That's true.
Nobody wants to move.
so
I mean,
look,
seriously, there hasn't been no movement in the kingdom diet. There have not been any movement since, we throw in some things, to kind of supervise here and there, but there has actually been no transition in the diet. That's a fact.
that's correct. And the transition, but however, the transition took place with a new thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
New thought. Instead of hot dogs, not dogs.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And so forth. But see, you got to ask yourself now: are we transitioning, and what are we transitioning into?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, if you ask the ancestors, they are letting us know who and what we are. We are divine beings. Ultimately, non-physical entities. Family, mercy has given us what? Transitional points. But we at the time of the end. And we must transition from the evolutionary to the revolutionary. We must be of quick understanding. So,
Eitai.
yes, sir.
Eitai.
Yes.
You going in and out. I don't know what that's about.
I think we have many people on with their microphones still on. So what I'll do, I'll have to mute the callers manually. I hope this is better, family. Can everyone hear me?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So the nature of this self-refueling system is pretty simple. Consuming and expelling, eating and eating, drinking, and using the bathroom, ridding ourselves of waste. It is a vain system
Okay.
at best. And our ancestors, listen to me carefully. They viewed physical existence as evil. I want y'all to let that sink in.
Okay.
They didn't leave us a way, listen carefully, to remain in this system for an indefinite period of time. What they focused on was the afterlife and showing us what? How to get out once we came in. That when we were finished with our work, that we would what? Shabbat. Rest.
Okay.
Cease from our
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we became what? Enamored and addicted to what? The simulated reality.
Yes.
Because we had forgotten who we were and why we came here. Simple as
Mm-hmm.
that. Simple as that. We've forgotten our mission. We've forgotten our assignment. Each of us has one.
Okay.
The energy that we get through consumption, humans, I mean, is simply converted to work. And thermal energy is the battery source that runs the body. and then stored fat as a reserve energy pack for what? More work, more physical activity. And we took a look, and we determined that the source of energy, which is solar, within this reality, there's another source of energy that we're going to talk about. That if it comes down in 1,000 units, only 1% is ever consumed. Be it a plant, be it a herbivore that eats the plant, or be it a carnivore that eats the herbivore, or be it a human that eats all these things. Very non-efficient system, which tells us that what? It's finite, not infinite.
Right.
That it is
Dang.
imperfect, not perfect. So how you going to work a system that is inherently imperfect with the expectation of perfecting yourself?
Mm.
Impossible.
Impossible.
Not even relative. Mm-hmm.
Impossible. It's madness.
Dang.
And when our ancestors showed us in the scriptures that it was something that, look, our higher consciousness did not ask us for. But we said, wow, we kind of like this. How about if we came up, the human aspect came up with that.
Dang.
Cain and Abel, which together gives us when we syncretize Cain and Abel, it means what? Fixed vanity.
Dang.
Eitai,
Cain.
can I share a little testimony on about what you just shared about this diet piece?
Absolutely shows.
Now, again, being on this path, we was given a diet and a transitional diet, you know, and November 2015, I was laid up in the hospital. Had to go to the operating room because my gallbladder
Uh-huh.
became inflamed, and
Gallstones, Malkiel.
and guess what caused it? It wasn't meat. It was tofu.
Cain.
So
Dang.
again, it's confirmation for me what you just sharing with us about this diet. It ain't about
It's
the diet
it ain't
like
about
that.
no diet, it ain't about no eating like that. It's not about no
Right.
day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about no new moon
No work.
festivals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not about nothing human, family. It is
Mm-hmm.
all about divinity, all
Mm-hmm.
about our divine selves and
Dang.
reconnecting with that frequency, reconnecting with that energy. Point blank, period. Yesterday, I left you with two questions. The one had to do with how long are you going to be hanging there? When we talked about the hangman, you all remember. And I posed the question, what does a God eat? And again, as I was meditating on this question yesterday, I was looking at a video that really wasn't on this subject, but I was compelled to watch it. And again, the brother had mentioned this Barnard sale, this Rayleigh Barnard sale. And I went into that and understood that this was talking about the, uh, the actual nature of nonlinear systems. And I immediately started thinking about the black hole. Now you remember when we were talking about and learning about how to what? Solve these paradoxes. There was a statement that we read from the Kabbalion that said, keep your mind ever on the star. Now let me state right here, you are the star. The conversation never, it never wanes, it never detracts from you as being the subject. Know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about these black holes, talking about these stars and their functions. We are made from star stuff.
Okay.
And we
Mm-hmm.
actually share the nature of what is called a star. The cosmos is in us.
Mm-hmm.
We are the star.
Come
We are the
on.
black hole.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your mind ever on the star. The conversation, the topic never strays, never wanes to anything outside of ourselves. And this is a tough thing to look at. But again, we have to use this language in order to get through this and in order to um, get to a point where we move beyond the language, we move beyond learning, and we move into knowing via intuition.
Okay.
But let your eyes watch over your footsteps, lest you fall into the mire by reason of what? Looking up into the skies, thinking that I'm talking about something that is up in the skies. You're going to miss it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to miss it. So again, our focus is always inward. Our attention always goes inward, not upward. So we're going to be talking about the universe and the multiverse. Keep your attention focused on yourself. The universe is you. The
Mm-hmm.
multiverse is you.
Okay.
The universe may have been born inside a black hole. And the black holes in our own cosmos might be what? Birthing or creating new universes of
Okay.
their own. This is talking about the creative aspect. You as a creator, as a black hole. I'm getting ready to tell you what a God, a creator eats, family. How he eats.
Oh, good.
Genesis 37 and 9. For you all taking notes. Genesis 37 and 9. This is about Joseph now. Now remember, family, there are seven heavens, which actually are referring to seven levels of consciousness. Seven levels of consciousness. And we'll go back momentarily and review this. The fourth level, I'm sorry, the third level has to do with the word Joseph or Yosef. This is a character, this is a symbol, and a corresponding angel called Azrael. So when we see the character Joseph, we are talking about a transition from the first two heavens or levels of consciousness, which represent what is called the astral plane, still part of the simulated reality. The third heaven represents the transition out of the astral plane or the simulated reality. You all with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it is symbolized in the Bible in the book of Revelation where it talks about the pearly gates or the gates of pearl. All right? So this is where we're at. That we are talking about and teaching about the need to transition out of the simulated reality, and here we are with a scripture that is talking about Joseph moving into this third dimensional or third level consciousness. And he dreamed, that is Joseph, another dream, and told it to his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, listen, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. The sun, the moon, and the 11 stars made obeisance to me or bowed down to me. I am no longer controlled by solar energy. Family, I'm no longer controlled. I'm
By
moving out of
light.
this cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving out of the cycle. This what? Vain cycle. This imperfect cycle of using the sun as a source, absorbing the sun, allowing plants or animals to absorb the sun, and then what? Eat them.
Yes.
It don't matter. It don't matter which one you eat. You're only getting what? 1% of the energy.
Right.
We got to transition now. So now Joseph represents that step up, that transition from what? Intellect to intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Where we say, I'm no longer going to serve the sun or that system or the moon, allow the moon to control. I'm in control of that.
Okay.
I've overcome. I've taken a step up. I'm understanding what? The difference between the simulated reality and the organic reality. And I'm going to start to move like that. Makes sense, family.
Yes.
Perfect sense.
Next scripture verse is Exodus 32 and 13. Key words here. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and what? Azrael or Israel. Remember the angel was Israel. Thy servants. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thine own self, and saidest unto them, I will multiply your seed, what? Not as humans, not as servants, but as what? stars of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto what? Your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. Numbers 24, 1 through 9, and then 17 through 9. Now remember, this is the story of Balaam that was contracted to what? Curse Israel. You all remember the story in the book of Numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he went not, as the other times, to seek for enchantments, but he set his face towards the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel on the Kephar. Don't say that. He saw Israel abiding in tents, abiding in tents, abiding in.
Come on, Reese.
Now, again, family, it has a historic aspect to it, and it
Mm-hmm.
has a spiritual aspect to it. They were in temporary dwellings.
Yes. Yes.
Family, in a transitional state. Succoth. And the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up this parable and said, Balaam, son of Beor, hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, he hath said, which heard the words of God, heard from his higher self,
Mm-hmm.
not with his physical ears, but with his spiritual ears, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
How goodly are what? Thy tents, O Jacob. You can't ignore it. And thy
Right.
tabernacles, temporary dwelling places, O Israel. See, but the tabernacle, family, should be done away with. When? When the temple is built.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, the one where no hammer or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's your permanent dwelling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As the valleys are they spread forth, as the garden by the river's side, as the trees of line aloes, which the Lord hath planted, and as cedar trees beside the waters. He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. Listen, see, we got to know about cosmic science and alchemy
Mm-hmm.
and the waters of noon, the waters of creation. And his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. We got to look into that a little bit later, but that's deep. And he shall what? Not eat no vegetables, not even eat no meat, but eat up all the nations, his enemies.
Got you.
Another type of consumption. God's.
Go ahead.
I got my bib on.
And shall what? Break their bones and pierce them through with his arrows.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time of war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is a time of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Listen, he couched, he lay down as a lion. Now, a lion is symbolic of the sun or solar energy.
Yes.
And as a great lion, something that is greater than the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all not hearing me. Something that is
There we are.
talking about something that is greater than the sun.
Mm-hmm.
An existence that is greater than what? A plant absorbing a solar energy, retaining only 1% of it, and you eating the plant. There is a great lion in the heavens. But who shall stir him up?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get us to stir him up.
Okay.
Wake up that energy source.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed is he that blesseth thee, cursed is he that curseth thee. Verses 17 through 19. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. I'll see him, but but not now. I'll behold him, but what? He's going to be not near, but far away.
Okay.
There shall come what? A star out of Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
and a scepter shall rise out of Israel. I'm telling y'all, it's rising now. I'm going to give you evidence.
Okay.
Yes.
It's rising up. Something greater, far greater than the sun, as a source of energy and life, as a transitional source, a transformative source. I'm going to give you the science. See, we're causing these things to happen now. See, what's going on in the
Okay.
NFL, what's going on in
Right,
South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
what's going
Yes.
on
right.
all around the world.
Yes.
We just started talking about these black holes recently
Mm-hmm.
and understanding them. I'm sure David
Mm-hmm.
has been thinking about them longer than us because he's the one that suggested that we take a look at this.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of us, the vast majority of us, we just recently started to what? Familiarize ourselves with the black hole and what? Start to identify with that. Am I not correct?
Okay.
Okay.
Check this out. March 2nd, Nasi, of this year. See, whatever we've known before about black holes, it's changed. Why? Because, family, where attention goes, what? Energy
Energy
flows
flow.
back.
Mm-hmm.
They're reporting, now see, the
I'm
weirdest
looking at,
black
yeah,
hole ever found. And they say it is growing so fast, it defies the laws of physics.
Wow.
So throw out what you've known about black hole, that we transforming the whole cosmos,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
create,
Yes.
Okay.
because that's what you
Yeah.
do. You focus
Mm-hmm.
your attention on something and everything changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, now,
wow.
see, we got to realize, we got to understand we are unique in this.
I mean, ain't no question about that. And I mean, and the more we recognize
Yes.
that it's nothing else, beyond us, the greater and more significant and then more regularity things will start to happen,
That's
you
correct.
know.
Okay.
Now, we talking about this black hole again, family, but this is you. I'm talking to you about you and
Okay.
what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
and the power that is resident in you.
Yeah, yeah,
It's hard to conceptualize, though, Nasi,
absolutely.
from a human standpoint and a human
Oh
point of
yeah, yeah,
view and a human vantage point and perception. But from a divine standpoint, this makes perfect sense.
Yes.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And see, Eitai, and how we know that it is happening and we are causing it to happen because we watching how melanated people are moving like unprecedented in
That's
this
right.
dispensation of time.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Okay.
Can I
right.
Okay.
see? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Family, let me tell you something. Now, we're not the only ones,
Right.
but as far as I'm concerned, we're the tip of the spear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that
Mm-hmm.
we're not the only ones, but we are part of this transition.
Yes.
This is, you're on the line, you're on here because this is what you came here to do.
Can.
Okay.
Can he tie?
Let me give y'all a little insight on something. I just got a call and I'm told there's a brother here from Chicago. He has a message for the leadership, but the leadership is not going to say what's going to happen. Some of us as scholars going to sit with this brother. He got a power he wants to show us. I would not be surprised if it's not what we sitting here talking about now.
Hey,
Right.
now see, just
Can I see?
go on and record it right now.
Right. So we're gonna get it, and I'll let you know. You know.
Okay.
It's gonna
Okay.
fit right in. Now see,
Yeah.
You the witness.
so here is, we're gonna break it down and answer the question how a God or how the Creator eats. This black hole is just an aspect of you. It is the cosmic representation of what you are and how you function cosmically, outside of the linear matrix, outside of the simulated reality,
Mm-hmm.
outside, family, of a solar cycle, which was what? Designed to be inefficient.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Designed to be what? Vanity.
Yes.
You designed it.
And if you design it, and in your imperfection, in your flaw, you got to know that the system got to be flawed.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is how a black hole eats a star. Let me see if I got it on the video too. I should have it on the video too. Hold on one second. So we saw how the pufferfish eat.
Right.
That's
Like a human.
He eat like a human, eat everything.
right. So this is how a black hole eats a star. This is what it looks like. Now I want us to pay close attention to this beam that is exiting out of both sides of the center of the black hole. Y'all see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very important. Now, again, all of this is based on theory, right? And those are just models. No one has ever seen this, but they can do computer models, and that's pretty cool. But here's the process. As we saw, the star passes near a supermassive black hole. The star is torn apart by what? The gravitational pull of the black hole.
Yeah.
Fragments of the star feed what's called the accretion disk around the black hole. Very important. Now look, a narrow, powerful beam of radiation blasts toward what planet?
Earth.
Earth.
Earth, along the black hole's spin axis.
Wow.
The material that surrounds it, the black hole that is, forms a white, hot, spiraling feature called the accretion disk. And if you look at that accretion disk, it looks like what? The Fibonacci spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Does it not?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like the Fibonacci spiral, right? Which looks like the number 6,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which looks
Absolutely.
like which looks like a baby in a fetal position,
Uh-huh.
which
Yeah.
looks like a spiraling galaxy,
Okay.
which corresponds to everything. This Fibonacci sequence, it corresponds to everything what? Within the physical universe.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the source. This is the creator, family.
Black hole.
Black hole.
Dark energy.
Dark energy,
Yes.
dark matter. This is conscious. This is what they're showing us is an aspect of our consciousness or a representation of what? Our consciousness.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
This accretion disk can outshine the entire galaxy 100-fold. Is that something
Whoa.
greater than the sun?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Okay.
It is
Whoa.
paradoxical, but even though no light can escape from the black hole, its accretion disk can be extremely bright. That's something
Wow.
greater than the sun.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
Mm.
That's something that is dark, but it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what it's saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a paradox. That's a paradox. But I think we've solved it. This is how a God eats. And this energy that is a result of it, it's not solar energy. It is something that is greater than solar energy. That millions of years ago was time to activate. And when family, we would have reached an understanding that the current solar cycle is vanity, something new would develop right on time.
Mm-hmm.
That even the greatest minds couldn't anticipate. A greater law than physics
Mm-hmm.
has presented itself, has emerged. And so for me, I'm no longer focused so much. I know I'm in transition now, see. I know I'm going to get as much sun as I want as I need.
Right.
Right.
I'm going to eat vegetables, but I'm going to eat less of them.
Mm-hmm.
And my
Okay.
focus, my attention is going to be on what? Not the bright sun in the sky, but the brighter sun. That
Mm-hmm.
is
Yes.
what? Black as well, but
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
bright.
All of this is a process of making the transition. There's just some fundamental things that have to be prepared in order for the transition to be made much smoother.
We're
Mm-hmm.
giving you something that
Okay.
is tangible, that you can imagine.
Yeah,
And if you can imagine, your imagination can take you there. And what?
yeah.
Connect you to that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's your energy. That's
Mm-hmm.
you. That's you eating. Family,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
go get your energy from the source. It's a process, though, Nasik, like you said. This is the next transitional step. This is what gods eat. This is how they eat. And this just presented, this is new information. When we started to focus our energy on this, right in sync.
Eitai,
Yes, sir.
uh, the date that you showed, the 2nd of March, that's 2 and 3. 2 and 3 equals 5. 5 is the number of change.
And look, we in the fifth dimension. I pointed that out to y'all the other. Now I say, you remember what I
Ye-
called you
Yes.
and told you, Nazar,
Right, right,
that that is the dimension,
Okay.
the fifth heaven, where Aharon
right,
Okay.
right,
and the avenging angel.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we gotta wake
Mm-hmm.
up. We gotta wake up and smell the coffee and
Yeah,
see that this is real.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
See, but we've been famous. We on record for not recognizing
Okay.
and acknowledge when we've been visited, the day of our visitation. If this is not the day of the visitation, I don't know what is.
Okay.
This is the day.
Researchers how detail how a distant black hole devoured a star. See, these things are distant. Balaam, the seer, said, I shall see him, listen, but not now. I shall behold him, but he won't be near like the sun. He will be something what?
Mm-hmm.
Greater than the sun, greater than
Mm-hmm.
a great lion. Who's going to stir him up? The answer to that question, Balaam, we stirred him up. We aroused him. We made him appear.
Ab-
On March 28, 2011, NASA's SWIFT detected intense X-ray flares thought to be caused by a black hole devouring a star. In one model, and we saw the video, a sun-like star on an eccentric orbit plunges too close to its galaxy's central black hole. About half of the star's mass, listen to how efficient this is. Solar energy, when it's absorbed by plants, only absorbs what? 1%. But when a star eats, half of the mass of the star feeds the accretion disk around the black hole, which in turn what? Which in turn powers a particle jet that beams radiation toward the earth. So the question is, do you want to stay within the solar system and get your 1%, or get 50 times greater or more?
50 times greater and more.
That's a much more efficient, that's a better deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a better deal.
Most galaxies, including our own, possess a central supersized black hole weighing millions of times the sun's mass. That's that great lion.
Mm-hmm.
According to the new studies, the black hole in the galaxy hosting Swift may be twice the mass of the 4 million solar mass black hole in the center of the Milky Way galaxy. This is new star, this new black hole. That's twice the size of the one in the Milky Way galaxy. As the star falls toward, as a star falls toward the black hole, it is ripped apart by intense tide. The gas is corralled into a disk that swirls around the black hole, becomes rapidly heated to temperatures of millions of degrees. The innermost gas in the disk spirals toward the black hole, where rapid motion and magnetism create dual, oppositely directed funnels through which some particles may escape. Jets driving matters at velocity greater than 90% the speed of light form along the black hole's spinning axis. In the case of Swift, one of these jets happened to point what? Straight toward the earth. We ordered that.
Mm-hmm.
We ordered that. We're the ones
Dang.
that what? Stirred that up.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be safe for us to say that we've said these things, but now we are witnessing these very words come into existence? A new heaven and a new earth.
There you go.
That's what we say.
Dang.
There you go.
Dang.
And the thing, like we looked at the Superman thing, they actually have a comic book cover that says the new heaven and the new earth, but Superman, the representative of what? The aberrant man.
Wow. See there? Yeah.
Humanity, that they said that he
Yeah.
was gonna do it. But we are not no supermen. We ain't trying to be no supermen and women.
Right.
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 We are cosmic divine beings.
Right. Right.
This is our diet. This is how we eat. This is how we get energy. Not from no little sun like that. Not from the little lion, but from a
This
great
is a
lion.
great line, huh?
But from a great lion. That's what? Not near. He hadn't appeared before.
Right.
Just showed up, family, a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not nigh, he's not near, not referring to the one in our solar system, but something that is greater. And they say now, see, everything that they thought they knew about the growth of the black hole has been just been flipped on its head. They down here trying to do these reverse, they down here trying to do this reverse rituals, but the whole world and flip their knowledge is no good now.
No good.
This thing is happening, y'all. We're awake, we're aware of what they're doing, and we're causing something new, a new thought to be put in the universe, into the multiverse. Scientists have discovered a massive anomaly out in space that is defying the laws of physics as we know it. Give yourselves a hand.
Yeah.
It is previously believed that black holes at the center of galaxy grow in tandem with the star clusters around them. Fooled you. As a galaxy expands, the black hole will grow as well, feeding on the matter and information, feeding on the matter and information that it absorbs. And this is what we were told, Nasi, where this paradox existed, where we abhorred meat, but what? We were still arriving at the gates of death. Are you all with me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so we explained it away like this. This is the high understanding of this. Well, eating doesn't just have to do with what you put in your mouth.
Okay.
You consume with your eyes, you consume with your ears. Anybody heard that?
Hey.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know
See.
what they was consuming. But guess what? This black hole feeds on matter and information and the
Okay.
correct information. And if what? Shoots that back to us. So we can't hide behind that no more.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
As it turns out, this isn't always the case. Now, this black hole is called the wise. This is another type of wisdom.
Right.
Okay.
Is a modestly sized galaxy, which based on previous assumption should play host to a smallish black hole. Got y'all. Not so. The supermassive black hole at its center is instead far larger than the galaxy ought to be able to support.
Man.
It's turning this thing on its head.
No question.
According to Toru Nagao, professor at Ehime University, or Eheim, this new information is a big deal that changes the way that we view black holes. We astronomers do not understand the real relation between the activity of supermassive black holes and star formations in the galaxies. Therefore, many astronomers, including us, are eager to observe the real scene of the interaction between what? The nuclear outflow. That is like the sun shining, right? But that comes from the center of that disk, and what? The star forming activities. You all are stars being formed, what? Not according to the simulated reality, but as it relates to what? The real organic reality.
Yes.
And they say for the revealing of what they're calling the mystery of coevolution. We are the mystery of coevolution. We are for signs and seasons, family. And these things, again, this coevolution is developing how? As we raise our consciousness level and align it with the proper vibrational frequency, the proper energy, the proper source. That is
Okay.
what? That is what? Greater than the solar reality.
Okay.
When we discover an anomaly that doesn't match up with the rest of our data thus far, it's an indicator that there's more going on than we had previously realized. And the more is you all, is us. Our ability to observe the universe has grown tremendously over the past years. This is why we are bumping into knowledge gaps this often. Essentially, we're now finally beginning to realize just how ignorant we are, which is the natural first step to being able to correct course and figure out what's really going on with black holes, with y'all black folks. That's what they're studying because, now see, this is what CERN is all about. They're trying to find the God particle. Now, and they're trying to create micro black holes. Look it up. They're trying to create micro black holes. Now, scientists will have to reconsider the cause of growth in black holes. Too late. We put a shake move on y'all. Y'all not gonna. We pump fake y'all. Y'all not. They're not gonna recover. It's too late.
Nope. Too late.
If these gravity drains don't grow in size relative to the amount of food they're consuming, I'm gonna let y'all read that again. If these gravity claims don't grow in size relative to the amount of food that they're consuming, there must be something else that's triggering their development. I'm telling you, I know.
Okay. You know.
Whatever the secret might be, it's going to be very interesting as science try to figure out what's going on. So with that portion, family, I'm going to have to end right now. I got to take my daughter on a job interview in about, we got to leave in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes here. So I'm going to stop right here.